sure know how to twist someone's arm. It's a deal. I will go with you on your trip. The name's Tama, by the way. But don't get too familiar.
I turned to you as a last resort, after my father left no stone unturned to impede my journey. I will accept your departure and pilgrimage, on the condition you find someone in town to accompany you. Those were the words that brought me to you. It does not take a sage to realize that if my father was talking in those terms, it was because he knew it was impossible for me to achieve this. He already convinced everyone to not lend me a hand. It would not be hard for him to do by means of his influence. But he did not even consider you. A foreign rogue, a thief who tried to steal the most sacred relic in our temple, the reason you ended up imprisoned in that cell. And I am glad about that. That made you, in practice, one more of the town's inhabitants. You would be able to leave prison, and I would be given permission to leave town and begin my journey to know the lands beyond the mountains. As payment for accompanying and providing me protection on the journey, you will receive something more valuable than the relic you tried to steal, once we have returned. Those were the words that ended up convincing you. Something more valuable? Are you sure you can offer me something like that? You inquired. I never lie, I answered. Never had I imagined that, as a result of that deal, I would have the chance of meeting someone like you. Someone who taught me more than any pilgrimage could, who gave me something more precious than any treasure in the world. You made me look into the world through different eyes. Eyes filled with bravery. The eyes in which I wanted to see myself reflected once more. I will save you.
Now everyone, welcome back to Crypt of the Almost said the wrong title. Sword of the Necromancer. In the last episode, we beat the Necromancer. Well, sort of. We bested the Necromancer. Now, we are playing the Young Priest. We still have some of our inventory items. Don't worry. But there's one thing we gotta do first. We're a priest. We forbid the sacred art. Therefore, we do not rely on dark magic. No. We'll go back to where it all began. Where this whole... I almost died there and I would have looked idiotic. No. We're going to do this the right way.
You do better to take your clothes off. This is going to get sweaty.
What are you saying? Do you want me to undress here in the middle of nowhere?
You don't need to get naked, idiot. Leave your underwear on. If you keep your clothes on, you're going to stink later. And why do you care anyway? No one's going to see us.
You had already stripped off your shirt, and were it not for the bandages that barely covered your chest, you would have stood with your torso completely exposed. The life you had led had given you an athletic physique, slender, but strong and toned muscles. It was precisely one of the reasons I did not want to get naked in front of you. So you would not glance at my body, so feeble in comparison to yours. How embarrassing!
Here, take this.
Your sword?
If you want to learn how to fight with a sword, it's best that you use a real one. That way you'll grow accustomed to its weight and balance.
And what about you?
I will do fine with this stick. More than enough to practice against a novice.
What if I hurt you? Would it not be better if I used a branch too?
No weapon cuts in the hands of a coward. Fighting against you, it may as well be a sword-shaped twig. You'd be lucky to touch me. On guard!
That was the first time you showed me how to fight with a sword. Ever since that encounter with the monster, I felt utterly useless and helpless, and asked you to teach me how to defend myself in case something like that were to happen again. Reluctantly, you accepted. Although now that you were in the heat of the moment, you seem to be having a great time. Your idea of teaching me to battle was to ram against me over and over with your makeshift sword, whilst I did my best to evade those blows using your heavy gladius. When it seemed there was an opening, I tried to charge, without success, since you simply parried my attack like someone who shoos flies away. After blocking one of my attacks, you always dealt a graceful blow, only to destabilize me. Almost kindly, they didn't even hurt, but it was frustrating. We kept practicing for almost 2 hours, and feeling like a failure for not being able to hit you even once, I could not go on.
That's it? You're already tired? You've got no endurance at all.
I was exhausted. Only lifting and brandishing that chunk of steel was enough exercise for me. But how can you move so nimbly?
Years of practice fighting against bastards. Besides, my father taught me how to handle the sword when I was a child. He was the town's blacksmith and had to test his weapons with somebody.
It is mesmerizing how you can wield this heavy blade as if it were nothing. You've been able to deflect all my blows with a simple branch.
It's no big deal. You've just never fought in your life. You have to lose the fear of hurting the other person. You never even tried to hit me for real.
But how do you expect me to really attack you? This was meant to be practice.
You're the one who asked me to teach you to fight. It's your job to discover that for yourself. Hey, don't worry. We all have to learn. You should know it better than anyone. Maybe if those sages who taught you how to dance had given you fencing lessons instead, we would be singing a different tune. But that's enough for today. We'll keep practicing from time to time. And who knows? Perhaps eventually you'll be able to give me a scratch.
Now that we no longer have the dark arts in our possession, we cast aside relying on monsters. This is where the hard part begins. It's hard nonetheless, but it's even more so here. I think we're gonna get another bit of story, so. Or not. So, right. We can't use monsters around. It's not how we do it. No, I'm probably gonna do this because I don't want to lose that shield too. And I don't want to lose that gem either. Because, man, I gotta fix something real quick. Yeah, that's better. Oh! No! No! Oh! So, if it wasn't obvious yet, the priestess works a little bit different than Tama. Tama is actually excellent in strength, so meaning they're better at weapons. However, Coco is an adept in magic. So right now we're using the worst thing we can with her, but we have to at the start. We do not have magic. I know I had a spellbook in there, but I had -1 heart, and I'm not going to carry -1 heart around. So hopefully we find a better spellbook. Oh. Man. Heart potion. Perfect. I was blocking. Homunculus. Ah, so now we can read the names of the monsters. There's gonna be a lot of points where I'm focusing, everyone. These bosses are not easy. Especially now that you've lost your handicap of having allies.
It was the first day of the pilgrimage. Nobody came to bid me farewell, except for one of the temple's priestesses, who handed over a bag of coins to finance our journey. Not even Father deigned to attend. But that did not stop me. We departed early with the first light of dawn. Just you and me on the way to Ethan, the first city on our itinerary. This was the first time I left Euda. A whole world before my eyes, a world that I only knew through books. I would finally be able to experience in my own skin all those words I had read. I had never before been able to observe nature around me so closely. I had to take notes. Along the way, I did not cease in my determination to observe the different animals and plants I spotted. You were always walking in front of me, several feet away, impatient. But I could not help it. That is how I spent the whole day. I was engrossed looking at some plants when I heard a noise behind me. As I turned, I saw it, a huge beast with gigantic fangs. The beast braced itself and lunged forward to ram me, and I could not do anything but run and call for help. Help me!
What's taking you so long now? Get your ass down here already! We're never going to get to Ethan if you keep stopping to smell the roses.
Someone! Please help! A monster! I noticed how something brushed my hair, and then again, and then a great weight fell behind me. I turned around, and there was the beast, lying on the ground, dead. And stuck in its head 2 arrows resulting from 2 well-aimed shots.
This, lady smartass, is no monster. It's just a wild boar.
It is humongous. This is the first time I've seen one, well, alive.
Good grief.
You killed it.
And? Didn't you want me to protect you? There was a wild animal running after you, and you were screaming like crazy. What did you want me to do? Give it a kiss?
You did not even hesitate. And you could have hit me with those arrows! That was reckless!
Well, excuse me, princess. I didn't hit you, did I? So don't complain. Look, we made a deal. I protect you during this journey, and you pay me when we get back. And if you want me to protect you, I have to kill animals and do even worse things. Do you understand?
I am just so sorry that the boar had to die because of me. I must have startled it.
Don't cry for our dinner. It's starting to get dark. We should camp here.
Camp?
What did you expect? That we would get to Ethan this very day and sleep in a warm, fluffy bed? Of course not. Not with you stopping constantly. Come on, stop standing there like a royal dimwit and help me carry this thing.
So, ooh, a level up. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I don't know how much we're going to get done either. But this might be either the second to last, or we're definitely approaching the last episode. It's not a long game, but again, you play it for the story mostly. It's definitely a challenging game, though. I'll tell you that much. You just gotta know how to play it. A lot of the second part of this game requires a lot of focus. So if I go quiet more often than usual, I'm so sorry. I think if I beat this boss, we might go for the third one. Because we're not even over the 30-minute mark, and I think I can go for a 40-minute video today. Sadashi. Oh, here, sideways can hit you? need to calm down a bit. Oh my god. Slowly but surely. Oh, that's that. That's. Oh. Give it to me, give me. Heck. I think we might be going for the third boss this time. Wait, I'm not sure actually. I'll tell you what. We're not going to do the third boss here. What we're going to do is we're going to try to get...
You always say that, but I do not think you are so terrible. Yes, you may be pretty rough around the edges, but that does not make you a bad person.
We're going to try to get the loot in the second... in this part, in the third dungeon here, and then we're going to escape rope out so I can end the episode.
I'm not talking about my lack of manners. I'm talking stealing, lying, deceiving people since I was 9.
Since such a young age.
Yep. It was then when the bandits took me under their protection and made me live like one of them.
Wow. You were quite the gifted child.
Not how I would have put it, Princess.
What happened? How did you end up in such a situation?
Long story short, my father died coughing like an old man. We never knew what he caught. After that, my mother decided we had to leave town and go to the capital, where some relatives would take care of us. Before we could leave, she also fell ill and died from a high fever. It was probably the same disease.
I am so sorry.
Don't be. It's been 10 years already.
What did you do after that?
Being the stupid child that I was, I had the great idea of following my mother's plan on my own. I took what little food we had left and headed into the woods, expecting to cross them and reach the city in search of those relatives that I later found out did not exist.
Alone?
A completely foolproof plan, if I do say so myself. So, after the most terrifying night in my life, I found myself in the middle of the forest, lost and alone. Food was running scarce, and I kept wandering for who knows how long. Just when I thought all hope was lost, I came across a group of bandits that had just robbed some travelers. I guess the boss felt pity for me, so they took me in.
Well, at least you were fortunate enough to meet them.
You've got to be joking. Those sons of bitches made sure I never forgot my debt to them. And shortly after taking me under their protection, they forced me to rob city folk, or else I wouldn't get any food for the day.
Good grief.
Since I was smaller and more agile than them, they also used me to sneak into places. So that's what I had to do to survive. Mind you, I'm not trying to justify myself to make you feel sorry for me, okay? With time, I even took a liking to stealing and threatening people at knife point. I became just another bandit, condemned to live that way forever. But hey, it's not like I expect someone like you to understand.
Are you saying that because I had a comfortable life?
Comfortable? Any girl would kill to live a tenth of what you have lived.
Well, I will not even try to compete with what you have been through. It is evident that you have been through much worse than me. But I have not lived as happy of a life as you might think.
So you're saying that little princesses can also cry?
For other reasons, but yes. I have lived all my life in the shadow of my lineage.
Your lineage? What are you, royalty?
Let us say that through my veins runs a somewhat special blood, descending directly from the Nodam.
A daughter of the gods' messengers, no less. And you expect me to not call you princess?
That is why my family are the ones in charge of the Temple of Euda. We are the only remnants of Nodam on the mainland.
Of course, because they ran off and bailed out. And if you're that special, what the hell are you doing traveling alone with a dirty bandit? Shouldn't your daddy be extremely worried about what happens to his little girl?
Father hopes that I turn back to the temple scared and without completing the pilgrimage. There are two things that our family takes very seriously: keeping promises and keeping the Nodam's pride and honor. If I am here with you, it is for those two reasons. I want to bet against my father, and his pride prevents him from even trying to clip my wings.
Well, well. So you played your cards right and got away with it. And why so much interest in the pilgrimage? Apart from the learning thing.
Precisely to fulfill a promise. I promised my mother. I swore on her deathbed that I would not make the same mistakes as father. And that I would truly help people.
So your mother's dead too?
And it seems that she died in a similar way to yours, 6 years ago. Since then, I have had to carry all her responsibilities, in addition to continuing my education. And even before that, I spent my life preparing for that moment, night and day. It is what a descendant of the Nodam is supposed to do.
So, what worries you is having to meet the expectations of literally everyone, of an entire continent.
I was speechless. You could infer how I was feeling exactly just by hearing that little about me. Thank you for understanding. Unlikely as it sounds, you are the first to do so. Throughout my life, everyone just told me that this is what you should do, regardless of what I thought. It is precisely because of my duties that I had to make this pilgrimage. This would be my only chance.
Why is that?
I turned 20 years old a few months ago. When I turn 21, according to our traditions, I must lock myself in the temple forever. I won't be able to walk the streets of Euda.
So, this pilgrimage is a way to delay the inevitable, right? You said this could take a couple of years.
Indeed. And I plan to make good use of them.
You know what, actually, this might be the end of the episode. It's running close to 40 minutes. Actually, it's exactly 40 minutes. I'm gonna call it here. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna collect everything from this dungeon here. Don't worry. I'm not gonna get myself killed. Hopefully. If I come close to it, I'll use the escape rope. Either way, I hope you've all enjoyed so far, and I'll see you in the next one.